guys, I'm Joe from Plastic Prototyping, and what we're going to be working on today is installing this set of maxpeedingrods brand coilovers on my 97 BMW 328IS. I'm going to be running them on my drift car, and I have to install them today because I have a drift event to go to tomorrow. I'll kind of show you guys what you're going to get and how to install them and how they perform at the track, and we'll go from there. This is the box they showed up in. As you can see, it's not perfect, but you never know what the shipping company is doing. Everything is individually bagged. It has these little foam baffles in between a lot of it, and the rear springs have this nice like foam shipping paper around it. The front coilovers look to be in pretty good shape. They are exactly what I was expecting. The welds, the quality of everything looks pretty standard. These top hats I'm not necessarily going to use because I have a set of SLR top hats that go with my angle kit, and they just have a little more adjustability, but these, there's nothing inherently wrong with them. They have maybe 5 or 7 degrees of adjustment either direction. I think looks like 5 degrees in or 7 degrees out, and it has 8K springs in the front and 7K springs in the rear. So we're going to get on installing these. It comes with coilover wrenches and a small Allen key so you can adjust the dampening. I believe they're 24-way adjustable, and it's got instructions, customer service card. Yeah, so we'll get on installing these, and I'll show you guys what's what. This is actually a kind of nice feature. This has a ball bearing at the top of it, so sometimes if you have like a different style of coilover, the resistance of the shock to the spring when it's trying to rotate with a McPherson strut style. I've had a set of coilovers where it actually loosened up the nut on the top hat here, and it was really inconvenient because I had to keep tightening it. I just had to wait until I heard it ticking, making like a knocking noise, and I knew when to tighten it. But that's pretty nice. The main difference between them is these two brackets, and it's really easy to mix them up just because they look really similar. But just make sure that you have the same, this bracket is pointed the same direction, and you should be good to go. just realized this. The design of these is actually not what I'm used to, where if you have a spring perch, then a spring perch mounted spring, then you just get a regular style shock. But this one actually allows you to adjust the height of the shock, so the bottom out height of the spring will be in the like proper place. So if you wanted to go super low, you can just thread this into the bottom section here, and you'll still have the proper amount of shock travel for the ride height that you're running, which is actually really nice. It doesn't have a ton of travel, but realistically that's still a lot of travel, and you can set it up properly for your ride height, which is cool. That's at max droop. I've set the coil here to be, not the coil, the strut to be, have about 1 inch of thread engagement, which is probably the minimum you would want with a 2-inch wide strut. Fully happy with how low it would go in the rear. Not that I want my car slammed or anything like that, but it was just, the wheel gap was too big. The rear of it was just too high over here. I removed the upper spring perch, which should give me about almost double the amount of this height right here because of where the spring sits, and we'll kind of see where that puts us. But if I have to do that on both sides, then so be it. And we'll kind of get this thing dialed in as best as we can before we go to the track, and we'll obviously be just testing at the track and making adjustments there, so we'll bring these with us. Worst case scenario, I have to pull the spring back out, remove the lower spring perch, and put in the upper spring perch, but we'll see what happens. Alright, so we got back from our day at Apple Valley Speedway, and it went really well. We hardly made any adjustments to the car because I think we were just having too much fun to want to stop to make adjustments, and the coilovers performed really consistently all day. I didn't have any issues with the coilovers at all. The springs in the front and rear, they weren't too stiff, they weren't too soft, they were just about where I wanted them to be. Even when I got into it with another driver a little bit, I gave Nick Franco a little bump in his E92 and broke one of my heims on my angle kit, but my coilovers turned out to be in good shape afterwards, so they're pretty robust. Overall, I'm really happy with how they performed. The install was easy, their performance was good, and it was just a good product. I would recommend it to any one of you guys. So, if you have any more questions about the coilovers or about the car's setup in general, just comment below and I'll try to get back to you. And other than that,